So generally in terms of the setup, okay, we discussed obviously your feet width was being quite wide. It's tough to see your feet width where, but turn that left hand side there a bit wider, and your feet were kind of flared out a little bit more than we want to. Just make it very hard for your body to rotate. And if your body can't rotate, the only way your club can really go back now is going up and outside. So that club now is almost going up through your head area. The club head's around about here right now, and then going very, very steep. Now when you then haven't turned on the way back and you just lifted your arms, then as you start rotating, look where that green arrow is there with your hands, is sort of right of your hands. As you then start rotating, as you come back down, your hands now start going the other side. So now that club's a long way across the golf ball, coming out from over here, very steep into the golf ball, likely to hit the ground behind the golf ball. But a lot of this movement was sort of implemented because of the left wrist doing what it was doing, and the club face, as you're making contact, was over there. So the way you moved that was by leaning back, and it brought the club face back square. But when it went straight, there was losing all yardage. It was a very sort of deflective kind of shot and not as powerful as ideally you want it to be. Okay. So this movement here now, as you see, taking the golf club away, you see your chest is turning away because obviously you can see your jumper there and the line on your top there. Okay. Hips moving, and this is obviously exaggerated wrong. We don't want the club to go this far inside, but as you'll see in a second, when you actually make a swing at it, okay, you go back to golf ball. You go nowhere near where that practice drill was. You go back to a very, very good position, So that club now in that position here is parallel to your toe lines pretty much there, okay? So that's kind of your toe line there, where your shoulders, so that's good. You know where the club now is working back through here, and the club head's there. Much more on plane there towards the golf ball, okay? You compare that line there, the difference in those two shafts. I mean, talking cheese really, okay? A lot more turn with the body. You can see your chest now is turning around, okay? So there's a little bit of an over top movement there now, but because you've gone back better, when you're over the top, the club now still coming through your right shoulder. As you come in the golf ball there now, there's your golf club. Compare that to, I mean, it's over there. I mean, that club, just the angle of that shaft there in those two images there, okay? Very, very different. The arms are kind of throwing out there. This one here is a much more efficient kind of hit to the golf ball. Again, still on the back foot, which we'll discuss in a second, and maybe future lessons going forward. Don't want to add too many things into your thought there. But in terms of distance there now, up to like 123, 130, I think you got 117 your last one, okay? So we're starting to get into that yardage that your 7, 6 and 5 should be getting to, okay? And reaching par threes there a lot more. This one here, you can see obviously swinging across the ball as much as it actually started fairly sort of straight to screen, but the ball flight now going to be kind of this sort of loopy, floaty one. I think what happened on a golf course when the mat wasn't square, which you won't have on a golf course, you can aim accordingly to try and get the ball to target. And you've learned a way to swing around the golf course. And second tee I aim here, and fourth tee I aim there, and third tee because you do it loads and loads of times, rather than actually learning how to hit the ball straighter. So in terms of setup, just a bit more efficient in terms of not so flared out with the feet and a little bit narrower. Okay, not too narrow. You could go the other way and go. I doubt you go too narrow, but shoulder width for these full shots would be fine. And there's a feeling now, this hip, this shoulder, okay, they're going to turn back on the way back and complete the backswing. So your left wrist now can kind of maintain a nice flat line there as it does its setup. If you cheat the backswing by going back more with kind of your wrist cupping this way, if I look here now, you can kind of see there's this sort of cupping here with your left wrist there. If you get that motion with your left wrist, you open the club face, and the fact your knuckles are kind of pointing more towards the camera as opposed to pointing more down that way. You've gone it this way, not that way, So that cupping or this bending of the wrist, if I start off head down and just cut my wrist, face now is going to come back to the right. And the way you adapted to that was just swing it hard left. Come across the ball, very steep, very deflective. It might end up going sort of straightish, but quite weak and losing yardage. That makes sense, Tanya?
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Very good.